Ryan Stewman, hardcore closer after 8 years. Back in the saddle. Welcome back to the Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
Man, you know what's cool is in 8 years, a lot of people that do what you and I do are not around anymore. And a lot of people come and gone in the time since we did the last podcast together.
I'm either dumb or stubborn or good or some mix of all the above.
I think that's a good characteristic to have. In the sales business, I remember when I sold cars for a brief period of time, they would always say, stay dumb and you'll make more money. And, if I'm just dumb enough not to quit and just dumb enough to wake up every day and do the things that I know move the needle every day instead of getting too smart and outthinking myself, then, I think that's what's allowed me to make it all these years as well, man.
Dude, isn't that true? So many people. So like, I've sold a lot of software, a lot of Infusionsoft, now Keep and HubSpot and on, but particularly Infusionsoft. People would come to me back in the day and they're like, well, show me the A/B testing abilities because I'm looking at this other platform like, okay, say, here's the deal. They don't have A/B testing right now, but do you send a lot of newsletters and e-blast? Well, no. Okay, when was the last one you sent? Oh, like 6 months ago. Okay, why don't we focus on getting you to send a newsletter consistently every week and optimize that? Then we can talk about A/B testing. Like, you're not even doing A testing. We're like, well, I guess that's a good point. Like, why do you want to do this? Well, I've seen Ryan Stewman. He does A/B testing, and he uses Salesforce and Marketo and Pardot and lead pages, and I want to do all of that. I'm like, you're not Stewman.
Yeah, and I don't even do all that shit. I keep it dumb still too,
Oh my gosh.
Send out regular emails, make regular posts on Facebook, and I'm not knocking it because some people are super smart and they can do all the A/B split testing and all this other stuff, and that's good for them. But I find that, I sell to a simple audience, and I find that if I'm way too complicated, then they're going to think that they've got to have all this complication too, and it won't work for them.
Yep.
And a lot of people, they don't realize that they're in their own way. You want all these analytical details when in reality, all it takes is a good offer, a way to collect information, and a little bit of sales game. That's it.
Yeah. It's I always say I'm like the 0 to 5, maybe the 0 to 7. Like I'll get you up and running, I'll get you dialed in. You want all this fancy stuff. It's like even like selling Infusionsoft. I was selling up against very technical people, but a lot of them, they didn't want the newbies. They wanted to get the guys like killing it and like we're gonna increase your optimization by 0.2%. I'm like, yeah, if you're Alex Hormozy, that 0.2%, that's $1 million.
Yeah,
but that's not my world. I want people, get them up and running, get them producing, get them consistent, get that confidence, scale from there, and because that's the timeless things, right? It's the have a good offer, have some sales skills. You don't need NLP. You don't have to hypnotize anybody.
Yep.
Just listen, ask good questions, seek to serve. Look at that. You made a sale. Why is that so freaking hard?
Well, I have this theory, after 14 years of being in business of helping people and training humans, I have this theory that if people want to know so much so that they have an excuse why it won't work for them. And the truth is, if you just do a few small things, sales is all about the human touch anyway. And if you'll just do human stuff, then you don't have to do all this technical stuff. And we live in a time where it's weird. A person, it's funny you mentioned software. A person will complain about having to press 1 to speak English and enter 15 prompts in the phone, but then they want to do that to their clients. Like the same shit you hate, everybody hates. Like, let's just the people like talking to a human. If I could call my bank or a credit card company and they pick up and it's actual person that I can talk to and tell my problem to get resolved, that's a lot better than going through a bunch of telephone prompts or, chat support or AI support on a website. And like, dude, that's not what people want anyway. But a lot of people think, oh, I need that to compete. It's like, actually, you're going to be more competitive if you just have somebody pick up the phone and call.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, it's like, I quote unquote overpay for Apple because I can still get a smart human on the phone.
Yeah.
and HubSpot. I mean, they're expensive, but man, you get a human, a smart human on the phone 24/7.
Yep.
People will
Yep.
pay for that, but yeah, it's all, I've been saying that whoever can be the most human right now, it's like, you want to zig when everybody zags? Okay, be human.
Now's the time. Yep.
What? Wait, what?
I was with Sal Frisella who is one of the owners of First Form a few weeks ago. And I asked him, I was like, you guys have really dominated the lifestyle niche, out there where this is very competitive. It's like, $1 trillion a year business, and you guys have really carved out a huge piece of it. How do you do that? And he goes, well, when someone buys from us, I know this sounds crazy, Ryan, but we call them and ask them if they enjoyed their shipment. We write a handwritten letter and put it in there. We call them and give them recipes and stuff that they can use to mix their protein powders, or we call and see what their regimen is and make sure that they're taking enough of whatever pills they bought from us to supplement for the regimen that they're on. He goes, everybody else is paying millions of dollars for technology, and we pay millions of dollars to employ people and be that technology for us. And that's what's made us different. I'm like, that's so simple, but yet brilliant for a multi-billion-dollar company,
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. We'll see if people do it.
Yeah.
I've had people, because I'd have a chat thing on my website and it comes to my phone, and I'll reply like, "Is this really Wes?" I'm like, "I'm sitting right here at my daughter's soccer game. You want me to send a selfie? Like, you got me." Like, yeah, I eat my own dog food. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. What's your question? It just, so like when I do consulting, I tell people, you have unlimited access to me. And it kind of blows their mind. And I'm like, and I'm saying, it doesn't mean I'm working 40 hours a week, 24 hours a day for you. We're going to have scheduled calls. But if the shit hits the fan, or if you got a quick question, you can text, you can email it. If I'm free, I'll answer the call. I'll reply as soon as I can. I'm not tracking minutes, and sometimes it's busy in the beginning, but it's like, once you get
Yep.
dialed in, you won't need me. Yeah. No.
Yep. I'm the same way. Somebody signs up to work with me. It's like, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, or here's my phone number, wherever you're most comfortable with. And, in the beginning, you're right. In the beginning, they may need a little bit more of my time, but once we start getting into a groove, then it's like, hey, as you need me, hit me up type of a thing outside of our scheduled stuff. So, a lot of people, they want to take money, no matter what industry they're in, they want to take money from some people and then do as little as possible and communicate as little as possible. And I think that's why there's not a lot of people these days that are really good at sales like there used to be in our generation. We're a little bit older these days, and there's not a lot of people that are as good at sales because they've hidden behind technology and lost their communication skills and don't know how to have like that human to human connection. I think that's the best part about growing up in the 90s. We didn't have video games, we didn't have the internet, and we had to learn how to be people around other people. And that's a skill that's really not lost on all of them, but lost on a large majority of people these days that are in the workforce. I have a great sales guy the other day, and he does a great job for me. And I asked him, I said, what kind of voicemails are you leaving these people if you're not getting them to call you back? And he goes, wait, why would I leave a voicemail? I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why would you not leave a voicemail? Like, what are you making phone calls for, thinking they're going to call a random number back? Dude, that's not how things work. You got to let them know who you are.
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was telling the story on a recent episode. My oldest son, he's 27. And so this was 11, 12 years ago. He was in high school. And he wouldn't answer the phone when I called him. I'm like, why do you have a phone? Why am I paying for your phone? You're not going to answer it. And he said, I'm like, why even have a smartphone? He's like, for the apps.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, snap. Like, okay, I need to look into this app thing, right? Because like, you use them, you don't think about like, okay, that's where the puck is going, right?
Yep.
And so yeah, these kids, they grow up with just lack of skills, and but I mean, it is what it is. That's where we are. So it's like, what's working for you then? Are you keeping it human? I mean, you've got your Apex, you're doing a lot of stuff. But are you keeping it simple, and what's resonating for your tribe?
I have been consistent for 14 years doing the same few things and getting really good at them. And, those things are creating a good offer, putting it out there to the public, having conversations with people, and then inviting those people to enroll in whatever it is that I'm selling at the time. And that is a timeless method that, now you've got these guys in the internet marketing space, especially, and they'll do anything but talk to you. They want your money, but they'll do anything but talk to you. It's like, I have a team of people, so I can't always be the guy to talk to everybody because we have more leads than I could personally keep up with coming in every day. But I've got 2 calls today that I'm doing after this is over with, and I try to keep my sales sword sharpened at all times, even though I'm not necessarily the lead sales guy or a sales guy in my company. I'm the owner of the business, but I still want to keep my finger on the pulse. I still want to see what problems people are facing, what they need help with, what their objections are. So that helps me stay on top of training my employees here too. But man, I've just always kept it simple, and I've had to evolve what our offer is over the years. Back in 2010, I taught social media, how to generate leads from social media to loan officers, because that's the only job I'd ever really had that mattered. And so I just kept to a very specific niche in teaching social media. Back then, there wasn't a Gary Vaynerchuk, there wasn't a Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins didn't use social media. I mean, I literally created my own industry and carved my own lane 14 years ago. Now, you look up in 2018, everybody's teaching how to do social media, which is cool. You know what I mean? And I get the claim of being like, I'm the OG, so it's really cool. And then, I'd been running masterminds for 14 years. And now you look up and every 20 something with a charter jet and a Lambo that they've got from Toro is running a mastermind on how to make $100 million in sales, which, guys like you and I know how much money that really is and how much bullshit that is on the internet these days. So I've had to reinvent and tweak our offer, still doing the same things, but now I look at it as we don't have a mastermind. We have a business association, and a business association is like when you join AAA, you get free towing, cheaper insurance, warranties on your car. So the benefits of being in AAA outweigh the investment that you make into AAA. So I've done that for our business owners. I've got discounted merchant processing, discounted insurance policies, tax minimization strategies from people that I personally use. We've created client financing. So the benefits of joining this association outweigh what the cost is to it. And the mastermind educational digital product component of it is like the icing on the cake, where everybody else is leading with, I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, I'm more successful than you should learn from me. And, like you said, when everybody zigs, you got to zag a little bit. And I thought, okay, well, if they can go get coaching from anybody from the ages of 20 to 50 years old right now, or in Grant Cardone's case, 60 years old, and obviously he's the most successful in the sector at this point in time. But if they can go get coaching from all those places, what's really going to make me stand out, and what can I offer that, that nobody else really can? Well, I went and put together benefits from my network that make it to where, okay, I can join here, and let's say I pay 10 grand a year, but I'm going to save 50 grand a year in merchant processing. I'm going to save 10 grand a year in my insurance costs. I'm going to, and then on top of that, I get to increase my revenue and decrease my overhead and the things that we teach. So it makes it kind of like a no-brainer to be a part of our association versus I never looked at myself as like the guy, like I know everything. I'm smarter than you. I'm richer than you. I don't look at myself as that person. And because I still see the old Ryan from the 90s, the little skinny kid in the when I look in the mirror, and I know the troubles that I've had to overcome in the past and in my own personal insecurity. So I've never needed to be the big ego, I'm better than everybody else, let me coach you guy. I've always thought, how can I just build something that benefits people? And really that's like sales 101. If I'm trying to get you to be one of my coaching clients, Wes, you're like, but I'm good at sales too, and I'm successful too. And, I like having clients that are more successful than me because I get to learn from them. I get to take what's made them more successful than me and implement what I like from that in my business. And if I'm always just, coaching people that aren't as successful than me, then eventually those people are also going to pull me down because my vision of success is going to be their vision of success and not vice versa. You become who you hang out with. So I've always tried to have clients that are more successful than me. Even when I was coaching only loan officers way back in the day, my top clients were doing 10 times the volume that I was. And I could I don't have the talent of taking a loser and turning them into a winner. I can't, I think winning's in your DNA. And so that makes losing in your DNA too. And no matter how much I talk to you, no matter how much things I teach you, no matter how many products or books you read, if you're mentally wired just to not win at life and not take action, I can't help you. But if I can take somebody who's already winning at a level and pour a little gas on the fire that they've already got going, dude, that's a much easier. You can take a guy that's making a couple $100,000 or a couple $1,000,000 a year and show them, like you said, little 1-2% tweaks. And that's, a lot of money for them versus a guy that has zero. A 1-2% tweak doesn't do anything for that. It still leads to zero.
Yeah. So you've evolved over 14 years, right? Somebody that's maybe newer in the game, like what is working today? Because it is noisy, right? I've connected with a couple of guys through LinkedIn that are just tearing it up by just mocking the crap out of all these fake dudes, and it's been entertaining. It's been enlightening to me. I mean, I'm 54 years old. I'm still kind of naive. I'm like, oh, like I like that one guy. Oh, that is a lot of fake. Like, damn, how'd I fall for that? So, is that the time? Is that the zig to the zag now? Be a goof on everybody? I mean, like, how do you stand out in this noisy ass Lambo renting world?
That's a good question. And in 2017 and I started buying exotic cars and stuff. And I don't say that like I've started a lot of trends, but I caught stuff early on if not starting things. And I bought first supercar in 2017, and hell, I still have Porsches and McLarens now. I just don't post them on the internet as often because in 2017, when there was very few people doing that, it stood out and it caught attention. And then, in 2015, calling people out and talking shit, that caught a lot of attention for me. I realized with the shit talking though, Wes, I attracted a bunch of people that like drama, and that's not really my thing. So it's like, yeah, they were attracted to me because I'm out here talking noise, but then they're eventually going to talk noise about me too if they don't go to work and they don't, change their habits and stuff like that. So it probably wasn't at the time it worked. And then, I started doing the private jets and fancy cars in 2017. And I learned that because I met Ed Milet. Sometimes you meet somebody, and Ed wasn't really on the internet at this time, but you meet somebody and like, wait, you have a Rolls Royce and a private jet? Like, that's possible? I'd never met nobody that had that. So I'm like, that's possible? Like, teach me the ways, and how can we be friends? And I started doing that on the internet, and it was like, oh shoot, okay, everybody's like, oh, this guy's rich, he's got cars, and now, you can finance a Lamborghini for 10 years. And so, you can get a $1,500 a month payment on a Lamborghini. On a used Lamborghini. That's the same as a brand new F-250. You know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal anymore. And now everybody's got these Lambos. Look at me, look at me, look at me. I started doing things a little bit differently about a year and a half ago, early on in 2023. At the end of 22, I bought a ranch. And I looked at it this way. You can fake a jet or fake a car or really own a jet or a car, but you can't fake being a good family man. You can't fake a marriage. You can't fake setting your family up to be safe and be successful no matter what. So I went and bought a 400-acre cattle ranch in 2022 up in Oklahoma. I live in Texas, so I bought it up in Oklahoma. It's about an hour and a half away from me. And, I looked at it this way. It's like, okay, if this world goes to hell in a handbasket, I've got 200 head of cattle. I've got 14 lakes full of bass, crappie, and catfish that I can eat. I've got greenhouses that we, can get vegetables in there. I got wild game like hogs and deer and stuff that I can hunt. I'm going to take care of my family. I want to make sure that if the city goes to hell or if we go to war or whatever, nobody's going to be bombing Ardmore, Oklahoma. You know what I mean? So like nobody's going to be invading Ardmore, Oklahoma. So I'm going to go up there and I'm going to get land and take care of my family. And all these guys are flexing Lambos. I'm going to show them a $150,000 skid steer, and they won't even know that it's $150,000 because it doesn't matter and they don't know. But people drive by land every day on the highway, and they're like, oh, there's a fence with cows. And they don't realize that that's millions of dollars. Somebody's got millions of dollars invested in the fence, the land, the cattle, the grass that they're growing there, the hay that they're feeding. And so I just started kind of, when everybody else was zigging with all this fancy city shit, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to my roots. I'm going to set my family up. I'm going to talk about my wife. I'm going to talk about my kids, because it's one thing to be, I've seen a lot of guys over the years, Wes, come up and make a lot of money and then make big degenerate mistakes, get a drug habit, cheat on their wife, leave their family behind, let their ego get to them. And I wanted to be the guy that's like, hey, I got a little bit of success. I'm not the richest person in the world or in the game, but I got a little bit of success. But let me show you how that you can have this work-life balance of being successful and having an amazing marriage and having 4 good kids and setting your family up to be taken care of no matter what happens in the world. And really truly just have it all. Not have it all as the yachts and all this other stuff, but it really is possible to have, like, it's not a work-life balance, but it's possible to have a work life and a real life as well. And so I started showing that, and it really started attracting a different kind of person, the person that's thinking about, okay, I'm not building a business to buy a Lambo. I'm building a business so that I can support my family and leave my kids and be the first generation of trust funds. I'm building a business that my wife can respect me because of the benefits that she gets and how I treat her. And it started attracting a lot higher caliber person that wasn't just into the flash and how can I get a bigger and more expensive watch than you or a more expensive car. It became, I became this guy that now people look at me as like, Stewman, he's got a decent business, but dude, his marriage is like unmatched. I've met his kids. His kids are some of the most respectful kids I've ever met. They see me out at the ranch training other people's kids. I invite fathers and sons all the time out to my ranch, and I teach their kids to ride 4-wheelers, and I'll have them go try to catch a cow or teach them how to fish and things like that, man. And it's really attracted a lot higher quality, in my eyes, person, because it's not about the money at that point. Their vision's bigger than I'm going to buy a jet and a Lambo and hang out with influencers or celebrities. They're like, I really want to do this to take care of my family. And that's like the highest quality person, in my opinion. And, and I've had them all. I've had, in 2017 through 2022, I had all the people that their goal was to get in a jet and a Lambo and stuff. But I'm at a point in my life at 45 years old, Wes, to where, I've hung out with every celebrity that I've ever wanted to meet. I've been on every stage that I've ever wanted to speak on. I've owned every car that I've ever wanted to. I've flown on every jet, been to every vacation that I want to. So I've checked damn near everything off of my bucket list. The only thing left on my bucket list is productive kids in society that go on to carry this legacy. To be married for 30 to 50 years, depending on how long I live, to be an example of a good husband and a father. Those are things I'll never check off my bucket list until I kick the bucket, And so I had to really, really reinvent everything. And look, man, a lot of people see a tractor or cows and they're not thinking, dude, that's a $5 million asset that he's sitting on out there. And again, I don't typically like drop numbers like that, but that doesn't resonate. They're like, oh, he's some poor redneck in a tractor. Look, some of the richest people I know own farms, Cows go for about $3,000 to $5,000 a piece right now. So you can do your math on that. If you drive by and you see 50 or 100 cows somewhere, that's $500,000 in cattle sitting out there. You know what I mean? People don't really understand, and it 3D prints money because they're always having calves, and people are. But I'm starting to see people catch on to that trend too. My friend John Cheplak, he's like, dude, you're on to something. He went and bought some land in Louisiana and got a few horses and cows and tractors and stuff. And he'll text me pretty often going, dude, this is way better than the shit that we were doing before. Teaching my daughter to be self-sustaining and teaching them, how to actually love and raise animals and be one with nature and all that. And, it doesn't resonate with someone who's really into the flash stuff, but it resonates with fathers and mothers that want that there's a bigger passion than just money behind this. And that's what's worked for me lately, and so puts a lot of pressure on me, bro, because it's nothing to go get a Lamborghini and make some money and go get a Lamborghini. And if I don't pay my bills, that shit gets repoed. Who cares? I got bad credit for a couple years or whatever the case may be. It's different when people are expecting me to be an example husband. It's different when people are expecting me to be an example father, because I'm at a position now to where in the public and myself and the public holds me accountable. I can't get a divorce or cheat on my wife or do any of that stuff. I can't have drug addict kids. I got to do this for forever, and it's going to take forever and daily accountability forever to be able to set myself up that way. But it's the biggest goal that I could have. And, the last year and a half, I'm about to get back on the road for the first time in about a year and a half. I haven't done podcasts. I haven't been doing speaking gigs, any of that stuff, man. I've just been home every night with my wife. I've been out at the ranch every weekend with my kids. I give my wife the weekends off from the kids, and I'll take the kids with me to the ranch. And because it's a little hot out there, especially in the summer right now. My wife's a very pretty lady, and she ain't gonna go get in the creek and stuff with us and ruin her hair and all that stuff. So it's so that's what I'm doing, man. I'm just showing people that this is the life that you can build from your business, and whether you want a nice car and fancy stuff like that, or whether you want a ranch that if the world goes to hell, you've got a place to feed your family. Like, I'm just showing people that really at this point anything's possible. You can have it all. I've set myself up to where, literally, like I say, if the world goes to hell, I'm taken care of. And your audience may go, this guy's wearing a tinfoil hat or whatever the case may be, but I've got EMP proof shields on all of my vehicles. We keep our gas tanks full at all times. So if something does pop off unexpectedly in America, we have a family plan to where a lot of families ain't going to make it in the city, and we've got the ability to be able to drive 101 miles or meet up at our rendezvous spot and go together and literally be able to live our lives out without having to worry about what 99% of the population is going to actually have to worry about. So, that's where I'm at in life these days, and what's working for me. And it's actually probably the funnest season of my life because I don't have the pressure of impressing Mike Tyson or going and meeting all these fancy celebrities and all this stuff like I've done in the past. It's just like, you know what? I'm just going to show people how to be a good father, a good husband, a good human, and a purpose-driven individual. And it's not the sexiest thing out there to a lot of people, but it's the sexiest thing that I can think of because there is a big lack of that right now. Last night I made a post on Facebook, Wes, about how God's been so good to me and all this stuff, and Facebook flagged it and took it down. Wasn't a cuss word in it, didn't talk crap to nobody, was all about giving God the glory for the things that are going on in my life. And Facebook flagged it and took it down. And I'm like, man, you want to talk about zigging and zagging, being a better person when the world's trying to destroy the very creator that got us here. That's what I want to be known for. The guy that had standards, had core values, kept them no matter what, loved God, loved this family, and didn't get corrupted by the flashy lifestyle that's corrupted so many people we've seen in the last 8 years since we did our last podcast.
That's crazy, man. But not surprising.
No. That's what's even more messed up, man, is it's not surprising. We should be shocked that they made a mistake, and that, that we absolutely should be shocked and be like, this is a mistake. But instead we're like, it's not surprising, man. The world's trying to remove God. The world's trying to silence good people. The world's trying to, shadow ban people that are telling the truth. And it becomes hard to stand out because, it'd be easy for me and you to get on the internet and lie about a bunch of stuff and support the wrong causes. And it'd be easy, bro, to sell out. It's hard not to sell out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you read Atlas Shrugged?
Yes, sir. I sure have. And I've seen the movie.
Yeah. Every day I'm closer to it.
Yeah, the Fountain is
John
good as well,
right?
Yeah. And I read that book in 2007, and even back then I thought, wow, this is happening, but now it's happening at a much more rapid pace. Right now a lot of people don't understand this, and this isn't a political statement because I don't care which side of the spectrum you're on, and I know where you stand, Wes, but this isn't a political statement, but part of Kamala Harris's tax plan is to tax American citizens on unrealized gains, which has been going on in the stock market forever. You make money, you got to sell off some stock to pay for the taxes. That's been going on forever. But now they're including your real estate. And by their math, at 27% roughly, if you own a home that has $200,000 in equity in it, they're going to tax you at the end of the year $55,000. How many people in America own a home with $200,000 in equity in it? A lot. How many of those people just have $55,000 on top of their property tax laying around to play on unrealized gains? Probably none. And so if you live in a house like I live, we're talking about $250,000, $300,000 in annual taxes on an asset that you haven't sold, man. It's going to, that alone is that tax plan alone is going to bankrupt 80% of America. And there's a party in the political spectrum that's known as the party of unintended consequences. And I don't think they realize how big of a problem that's going to be. But that's one of their tax policies right now: capital gains, unrealized gains on real estate. And whether you own a investment home or whether you own a primary residence, none of us can. If we have to write those checks, then you're not going to be able to afford to rent those homes or buy those homes either. And I don't know where we could go if that happens. There is literally no good answer to that. It's absolutely ludicrous, but that's what we're facing right now, you know?
Well, people make excuses, I mean, well, one is they do know what they're doing, and this is by design.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, oh, those people, they're idiots. I'm like, they're not idiots.
No, they got
Okay.
smart people around them.
This is part of the plan. But literally this morning, I saw people online debating that. Oh, it's only if your net worth is over a certain amount, and you're already taxed on unrealized gains because you pay property tax on the increased value of your home, blah blah blah. And I'm like I posted months ago. I said, look, I'm not here to convince anyone because we're past the convincing stage.
Yeah.
I just make commentary to let the sane people know that they're not alone.
Yeah. That's a good point.
There's no convincing. There's no persuading. You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of step back every now and then and try to just encourage people, that are doing right things, make Orwell fiction again, right? Like, holy crap, man.
Man, I wish I had the confidence that comes with ignorance.
Oh,
Like the dumbest people are certain that they are right. You know what I mean? But my pastor a long time ago, he said this phrase at one of our church sermons, and I was like, man, that's for me. He said, if you want to live a life that's right, you're going to have to learn to give up your right to be right. And ignorant people will not give up their right to be right. And what that means is, let's say you're arguing with your wife. Are you arguing to prove that you're right and she's wrong, or are you arguing for the solution to the problem that got the argument started in the beginning? So if I'll always argue for the solution and not the fact that I'm better or I'm smarter or I'm righter or wronger or whatever the case, that's going to go a lot further for people in life, man. But some of the most, ignorant people, I'll just use that word, some of the most ignorant people are the most confident that they are right and are refuse to give up their right to be right. And they don't know what they don't know. And it always comes back to bite them. And they go, how did we get here? How did this happen? How are gas prices up? How is my insurance $2,500 a month? How is my grocery bill $2,000 a month? It's like, you were sure confident before. You were sure confident that you were right before. Why are you, so.
And dude, I went to the Air Force Academy. It used to be a pretty good school. I think it still is. It's hard to get into, and I've got classmates. It's like I literally can see how the Civil War. Well, it wasn't the Civil War. It's the War of Northern Aggression. But I digress.
Yeah.
I can see how that happened because some of the dumbest people that I see commenting online are my classmates. I'm like, you had a good education. You served in the military. You've been around the world. You've seen other nations and how they do things. You've seen how our enemies do things. Like, how can you think like this? And dude, I've unfriended some of them. It's like, there's no, and most of the others, I just tolerate. I don't engage.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are smart, educated individuals that we cannot see eye to eye with, and so it's like you ignore them at your own peril because they're voting and pushing agendas forward that go against my values, they go against common sense, so at some point there will be another fight, so at least I'm on the side that knows which bathroom to use and
how to operate
there's a difference between a magazine and a clip and which way the pointy things need to go into that magazine.
Yep. Yeah, it's if I have advice for anybody listening out there, is like, now's the time to sharpen your sales skills and get to work, because I've been saying this since 2016, but the classes are getting divided. And there's going to be the haves and the have-nots only. There's not going to be the have a little bits and the have some in the middle class. The classes are getting divided. And, I've been working for 25 years to make sure that when they're divided, I'm on the upper echelon, and people can say, oh, he's a capitalist, or, oh, he's a rich guy. But man, I've been to prison, unfortunately, in my lifetime. And I've been without. I've left a prison unit with $25 and had to live in a halfway house and not had a pot to piss in. Literally, I have been there, and I don't ever want to go through that again. And a lot of people haven't experienced not having anything because they've been somewhat comfortable with a salary or a job. But with the taxes, with the political spectrum going on out there, with AI taking over massive amounts of jobs, Microsoft just announced one of their highest earning ever quarters and then laid off 1,000 people because they don't need them because AI can do those jobs. Like, people don't realize what's coming. So if there was a bit of advice I could give anybody, it's sell your ass off, build your business as much as possible. Don't spend money, stack as much cash as you possibly can. Buy land somewhere to protect yourself that you can live off of when everything's gone away. Because we may have 5 years, we may have 10 years, we may have 15 years, but it's coming. And when it's here, it's going to be like, well, those that didn't pay attention and heed the words that I said, they're going to be like, well, I never expected this. I never knew. It's like, bro, the warning signs have been there all along. And people have been trying to tell you on both sides of the spectrum that things were not going to be the way that you are right now. I told people from 2014 to 2022, if you're not making six figures a year right now during that time period, these are the highest earning time periods of my lifetime. If you can't make six figures now, wait till this stuff slows down and there's a recession and your $50,000 a year income is now $25,000 a year. If people didn't bust their ass during the last one, we may not get another shot like we had from 2014 to 2022. There may not be another time in our lifetime where we get an opportunity to earn money at that level. But some of us who went all in during those times, set ourselves up for times now when things are a lot bit rougher. We set ourselves up during that time. In a farm, they have a saying, make hay when the sun's shining. Right now, the sun's not shining. And if you missed the last time to bale hay, we may not get another one. But right now, the sun is peeking through the clouds a little bit. So you still better get to baling hay. And if not, when this thing's a rainy day that never comes back to sun, people are going to find themselves in some big trouble because they didn't get skilled. They didn't manage their money properly. They didn't set themselves up for success. I think a lot of these guys, like we were talking about in the beginning, that are, they get their first little taste of money and they go buy a Rolex and a car and stuff. These guys they're going to be really feeling it when an F-250 diesel is worth a hell of a lot more than a Lamborghini, because nobody needs a Lamborghini because they need something that they can get off road, because all the Teslas have blocked the road, like we've seen in the movie Leave the World Behind and stuff. Like, I don't think people really understand that it could turn around. But it's been my experience that every year that somebody new is elected into Congress or into the presidential spot, they don't ever come in there. There's only been one guy in my lifetime, but they don't ever come in there and reduce taxes and really help people out. They all say they're going to do that shit, but they never do it. There's only really truly been one person that's done that in my lifetime. That's been Trump. And I don't always agree with that guy, and he's not my favorite candidate. He's not the guy that I wanted to be our candidate, right? And so that's what we've got with right now, but he's literally the only one to have ever done that. And the chances are nobody else will ever do that again, because look at the hell that guy's been through because of him doing that, and the lies and some of it's true too, but the lies and the manipulation and stuff that guy, the one guy that actually seemed like he wanted to help the average working person out, man, that guy has caught all sorts of hell. So the chances of that happening again are going to be slim to none, even if he gets back in office, because he's facing felony counts and everything else now that's a little bit different in the climate that he's in. So, man, if I give you guys advice, man, get your money right now before it's too late. Because, Elon Musk says within the next 4 to 5 years, AI is going to replace 50% of the jobs out there. So if you find yourself with no skill and no job on universal income or whatever the hell they decide, or feed us to the aliens or whatever the hell they decide to do with us, if you heed my warning right now. If that don't happen, cool, then you've set yourself up to win in the future if things turn around. But if it does, you got to be conscious that is a possibility, so you should be working for that possibility right now.
So what does that mean? What do they do? Um, you got W-2 salespeople listening to this, small business owners. Like, what's something practical? Like, it's the end of 2024. You know, what do they do? Um, Make cold calls, learn direct mail. Should they go get market share, maybe lower prices, do a promo, go grab market share, go grab more customers? Like, what's something practical they can do in the next 6 months to
In
grow?
my opinion, it's all of it. It's all of it. There's no magic bullet in society, period, but it's all of it, Wes. If you're a W-2 salesperson and you're relying on company leads, that's a terrible plan. You need to go get your own leads. You need to figure out how to post on social media and actually generate business. You need to learn how to send offer letters out. I I own a 22,000 square foot building here in Plano, and no investors or anything like that. I bought this building a couple years ago. I got a letter in the mail the other day, and they're like, "Hey, we're interested in buying your building." And I'm like, I never really thought about selling it, but these guys came here today and met with me, and they're pretty interested in paying me a lot more than I paid for it, all from direct mail. And yet there's people out there that are selling commercial real estate and stuff that haven't invested in direct mail. They haven't invested in making phone calls. They're not doing social media. They're not making cold calls. They're not sending text blast or an email newsletter like you mentioned before. You really need to do all of that, right? And here's what I know. Everybody says they want to go to the next level. I want to level up. I want to go to the next level. But in order to do that, you truly got to do a few things here. You got to A, know what the levels are. B, know what level you're on. And C, know what skills you need to master to go through those levels. In my opinion, it works like this. There's 4 levels of business. Robert Kiyosaki said it best. And there's eight skills that you must master to go through those levels. So if you're a W-2 employee, that's level 1. You need to learn sales and marketing, right? Because when you can get your own leads and close your own sales, you can write your own checks, right? And then after you get good at sales and marketing, you can start your own business. You become self-employed. That's level 2. At that level, you got sales and marketing down, which you never stop learning or implementing, but you got it down. You need to learn hiring and training, or you're going to be self-employed for forever. And no matter how much money you're making, there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so much stuff that you'll do. Eventually, you'll find an iron ceiling that you can't escape unless you learn to build a team, hiring and training, right? The third thing is you're an executive of a company. That means you got sales and marketing down. You've got people working for you. You've got hiring and training down. You need to learn brand building and leadership, because how can you lead the company, build a brand for the company, and lead the people that work for you? It's a sure design failure if you don't know those skills as an executive. The fourth level is where you own the business, but you don't necessarily work in it. And at that level, you got to learn how to, you probably sold the business, or the business is just cash flowing to you and you're not as hands-on. And at that level, you got to learn how to minimize your taxes. That's more important now than ever. And you got to learn how to manage your money correctly as it's coming in, because, all good things come to an end. And even a company like Apple, which is $1 trillion company now, they were close to bankruptcy or filed bankruptcy in the either the 90s or the early 2000s. So no matter how good of a company you think you've got, if you don't learn how to manage your finances and minimize your taxes, that stuff will be taken away in a heartbeat. So the idea for you guys listening is to figure out which of those levels you're on and which of those skills that you need to master in order to truly go to that next level. And if you're a business owner, there's only 3 ways to make more money, right? And I'm talking about make more money for yourself, right? Because we know a bunch of people that $50-100 million a year, but it costs them $99.5 million to make that $100 million. So revenue is something that we say for vanity reasons. Profit that we get to keep as the business owner it's sanity reasons. It's what keeps us sane and afloat, right? And, there's only 3 ways to make more money. You can increase revenue, right? Go get more sales, go get more leads, increase your conversions, optimize your offers, all of that. Then there's decrease overhead, get rid of employees that aren't pulling their weight, trade them for better employees, lower your insurance premiums, lower your merchant processing, offer new services that allow you to, or get rid of services that don't allow you, that aren't serving you, right? Like a bunch of software that you've never canceled, or recurring payments that you don't necessarily need or don't benefit from. And the third, again, is to minimize taxes. And it takes all 3 of those things for you, the business operator, to get more money in your pocket: increasing revenue, decreasing overhead, and minimizing your taxes. That's when your business is 100% optimized at its max. So, and you're never going to be optimized at your max. You're always looking at new ways to increase revenue, new ways to decrease overhead. That's why so many companies out there right now, like Microsoft, having a record quarter, and they're like, hey, so we increase revenue, now let's decrease overhead. We're getting rid of 1,000 employees, right? That's what the big dogs do. And I guarantee you they're going to get some kind of tax break because of the things that they do as well. And so, that if you want to go through the levels of business and you want to make more money, those are the two theories that I have about how to make more money and how to level up. And, you need to start working on those skills and mastering those practices right now before it's too late.
So how do people find the real dudes? Is it just you and me? Is that it?
Now there's a few of us out there. There's guys like Andy Frisella. He's real as they come, Ed Milet's as real as they come. You've got, here's what's going to happen. This is my prediction. When things get financially strained like they are right now, the true losers will reveal themselves. You'll see the guys that get divorced. You'll see the guys that shut their businesses down because it was all this vanity thing. And you'll see a lot of that go away. The reason why we see so many coaching ads in our newsfeed right now is, look, and I'm a prime example of this, is those who can't coach. We all know that saying, right? I lost my loan officer license because I went to prison, was on federal parole still. So I became a coach of loan officers. Lucky for me, I was a very successful loan officer, so I had the qualifications to coach those guys in the beginning, but I literally couldn't do my job, so I became a coach. We're seeing an influx, like influencer and coaching are the two of the top 5 fastest growing segments of business in America right now. And the reason why is you got a guy who tried to get a job in sales and he was mediocre middle producer, but now he thinks he can go teach everybody how to do this, and you got a guy that his business failed. I know hundreds of guys that their businesses failed and now they coach people in business. And it's like, bro, you didn't even do what you're telling these people to do. How can you expect them to do it? But what we'll see over the next 12 months, no matter who gets in political office, what we'll see over the next 12 months is a lot of these guys who should have never been in our news feed in the beginning, they'll have to go away. They'll go with their tail between their legs. Their business will have failed. And those of us that do what I'm talking about right now, that kept working, mastering our skill set, doing the work, even when we don't do it, moving the needle every day, we'll be light years ahead of everybody and we'll shine brighter than everybody else because we'll have survived this. But you'll see a lot of these things fall off real soon, especially, 10 years ago, it was pretty easy for me to run ads on Facebook. They cost $1 a lead. Now leads sometimes $20, $30, man. And a lot of these guys can't keep up at that pace. And you see these guys think, oh, it's Stewman and West make it look easy. I'll just go consult people and coach people and make millions of dollars. And they realize this is one of the hardest jobs on the planet because I don't care how much you like me. You probably don't just pick up the phone and go, I'd like to give you $30,000 to work with you, Stewman. That sounds cool. That's not how it works. You have to actually have some skills and some success and be able to show people and empathize with people and show them your track record that you've helped somebody just like them get the results that they want and stuff. So, I think we're going to see a lot of that fall off in the next 12 months because it's this coaching, I don't really consider myself a coach, but this coaching business is the hardest damn thing I've ever done because nobody rolls over in the middle of the night and goes, you know what? I'd like to pay a guy a bunch of money to tell me shit that I'm not doing that I should be doing. That's not what happens, right? When I sold mortgages, it was easy. You roll over in the middle of the night and you tell your spouse, you know what? We need a bigger house. We're having another kid, or we need to downsize because all of our kids are in college now, or we need to refinance and get some cash out to pay off our credit card bill. That was a conversation that they had because the house is something that they need. Nobody needs a coach. Nobody needs to buy a consultant. Nobody needs to join a mastermind. That's a luxury, not a necessity. And I think a lot of these guys are going to find out the hard way. And when finances get tough, guys make mistakes in their marriage, they make mistakes in their business, and we'll see a lot of that stuff fall off. So, the way that you're really going to be able to see the people that stand out, who has a real happy marriage, not the guy with the marriage podcast. Like I know 4 or 5 influencers that have had marriage podcasts that aren't married anymore. And people have been telling me and my wife for a long time, you guys should do, marriage stuff. It's like, man, I ain't seen that work out good for anybody because that puts a lot of pressure on a marriage, We offer, a couples deal once a year that we do with people, but it's not us sitting there going, we have marriage figured out. We're perfect. It's like, hey, here's how we fight. Here's how we argue over the kids. Here's our date night regimen. It's not, we have this perfect marriage, but I think you'll see a lot of people that act like they got their shit. Look, I don't know if I got my shit together or not. I just wake up every day and I know that there's a routine that I can follow that moves me down the road. But these guys and ladies that act like they got their shit together, we're going to see a lot of them with, what is it, Warren Buffett says, you tell who's been skinny dipping when the tide goes out, and the tide's definitely on its way out.
Dude, I follow an inordinate amount of dating coaches, both male and female, because it's 100% sales, like Neil Strauss in The Game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so many of them are single. They have no life.
Yeah.
So I don't listen to what they say. I just listen to how do they structure it. Oh, there's a good offer. Okay. Because one of my signature slides in my training is the sales equals dating pipeline. We talk about, like, I literally met my wife at a bar, and it's like shower, right?
Yeah.
Get your clothes dry cleaned,
Fresh breath,
brush your teeth, put on cologne, not too much cologne. Each of those, because my program is the make every sale program. And I say to make any sale, you must make every sale. So leading up to that, I met her at a country bar. So how I approached her was a sale.
Yep.
I could have walked up and slapped her on the ass, said, "Let's go, little girl." Okay, maybe she's into that, but maybe I get my butt beat, because she was there with her dad and her brother.
Yep.
And so sales equals dating, right? And you can skip a couple of steps, but if you skip more than like 2, you're going to get in trouble. The odds you're starting to stack up against you. So you got to have a process. You got to, follow this. So if you're in sales but you don't have any money, you don't want to work with Ryan or me right now because you're broke, go follow some dating coaches, but don't listen to their advice. Just listen to the structure of the advice.
Look, if you're in sales and you're broke, go to YouTube. There's a ton of information from a ton of people that are successful salespeople, from Wes, myself, Grant Cardone, Hormozy. There's a bunch of there. I mean, that's a free resource for you, and
yes.
But most people aren't resourceful. They're like, man, I can't afford it, so I'm not going to do anything. It's like, bro, like, we used to have to read encyclopedias when I was young. Now you can go to YouTube and watch entertaining videos that teach you stuff. Watch guys like Patrick Bet-David. Watch guys like Dan Martell. Like, they're going to teach you that stuff, And it's funny you say sales is like dating. Sales is like dating. It's not like sex. Most people treat sales like sex. They're just trying to get a one-night stand and go straight to bed with somebody that they just met. Sales is dating. Dating takes some time to actually close the deal. And that's a great analogy.
Yeah. Well, the one caveat I'll put on the YouTube thing, YouTube and podcast, whatever, it's kind of like golf. Like my dad bought me golf lessons for my 23rd birthday. So I don't know if he loves me or hates me, because I got hooked, and I played a lot for a while. And but I hired a coach, one coach at a time, right? And so find someone that resonates with you. And, if you hop on YouTube and go deep, go deep until something doesn't resonate, or maybe you grow beyond them or whatever. But having 20 tabs open and watching 30 videos from, 20 different people and not applying won't get you anything.
Yeah, 100%.
Find somebody, go deep, grow, then shift gears. Because I think one of my biggest benefits that I give people is I just slap them and make them turn shit off and focus. Like, stop learning, go do.
Yep.
Just go, jump in, get after it. Well, hey man, we're up against the hour. I don't want to take too much of your time. Where should people go? Where do you? I'm going to link to everything, all your socials here on the blog and the notes, so they can scroll down and click to everything. But they're riding in their car, they're jogging right now, they're on the treadmill at the gym. Where do you want them to click? What do you want them to do?
That's 3 places. One or all, doesn't matter. I'm at Hardcore Closer on Instagram. The one with the blue check, don't fall for any scams. I'm Ryan Stewman on Facebook, and same thing, one with the blue check. And my website's jointheapex.com. Tons of resources and stuff over there as well. So, those three places, one or all of them is fine with me. And, if you heard me on this show, send me a DM and maybe you don't agree with me politically and tell me I'm wrong or whatever the case. I can give up my right to be right if you convince me, or if you enjoyed it, say, thanks, man, really opened my eyes to needing to get to work and stack up my cash and get ahead of what may or may not happen in the future. Just let me know that you heard this. And, I answer my own DMs. That's really me. Just like Wes said, it's really him from his website. So I'd like to get to know you guys and talk to you through the DMs. And maybe I'll entertain you or make you laugh or make you think in some of my posts.
Yep. Amen. And go listen to episode 201. We didn't get too much into your past. You kind of brought it up, and not that we were hiding anything. It's just you're totally out in the open,
Yeah.
going to prison and drugs and ex-wives. And
I've done it all.
you've laid it out there. And so, we're not rehashing old things. You did pivot. But I like the changes you've made, what you're putting out there. There's a couple folks. I got a couple of haters. They don't hate me. They hate you. They're in my DMs. And I'm like, look, man, Ryan's been good to me. So I don't know. So let people make their own decisions.
Anytime you got a million people or so following you, you're not going to make everybody happy. There's an old saying, it's like, you can't be ice cream. You can't make everybody happy. But even some people are lactose intolerant, don't even like ice cream, bro. So,
I hear you.
Honestly, I look at it this way, and it's everybody's opinion to do whatever they want. If somebody hates on me and I know who I am and God knows who I am, really, what does that say about them? What about me makes them hate me? Because I'm doing my best. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best to be a good husband, good father, good leader, love on people. But as you know, Wes, sometimes, like you said, you slap people, make them focus. Sometimes when you slap people, man, they're not happy. And that is what it is.
Man, Trader Joe's has the best ice cream, the best vanilla out there. But you know what? Even my daughter, she's not happy with it. We had to go get mint, chocolate chip. We had to get cookies and cream. So you're right, man. Ice cream doesn't even make everybody happy. So
Exactly.
amen. All right, brother. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on. It's great catching up. And my sister's out in South Lake, so I'll come out and I'll give you a holler when I'm out that way.
Yeah, let me know when you get to Texas, big dog. That's not far from me. So
All right,
it'd
man.
be awesome. Thank you, Wes.
All right, dude. Good to see you.